Hi, everyone. Welcome to your check in with Gwen, a podcast that operationalizes healing, teaching you how to do the mental work and build daily routines that help in the creation of your best life. Whether you're rebuilding after a rough season or chasing a dream, I'm your host, Gwendolyn McLemore, and I'm very grateful that you're here. So settle in, take a breath, and land as I guide us towards a path of healing gratitude. Welcome, everyone. Today is an interesting episode. Physically, I have a headache. I'm not exactly sure why. And so I am not feeling my best physically. I have been doing all of my healthy habits. However, I am just not feeling my physical best today. Mentally, I'm feeling, the first word that came to mind was defeated, so I'm going to say it because I think it's honest. I am feeling defeated mentally. I handled a lot of my tasks administratively for work, for my personal life, and a lot of other people aren't moving in a way that I would like. And so I'm dealing with the frustration of realizing that my plans for myself are not only my mercy, it still involves other people. And so mentally, I'm feeling defeated. I am feeling frustrated mentally. Emotionally, I'm feeling jaded. I am feeling resentful. I am feeling upset. And what I mean by this is that actually, I'm not going to give some long definition. That is it, right? Like emotionally, I am not feeling too pleasant. I worked really hard all day and I was met with a bunch of news that I didn't really care for, answers to things that I didn't really care for. And I think me not being in the best of moods and sending this message, I hope it makes it more impactful because I think it's a positive message and it's just funny because I don't feel that way right now. Socially, I feel excited. I have some social plans for this weekend, which is nice. And I have been intentional. I had a really good social day at the gym today. And so I felt very connected. And professionally this week, I had a chance to network with people I might see in person once or twice a year, every year. That happened this week. And I just had a lot of positive social interaction. Spiritually, the word I want to use is clinging, right? Spiritually, desperate, that's another one that comes in. Spiritually, I feel like I'm holding on very tightly to the few things that I can control. And I've said this a couple weeks ago, that my faith is not where it needs to be. And I'm still battling with that. And what I mean is that I would love to have faith that things are going to work out in a timely fashion, that I won't have to feel so flustered and so overbearing and particular about things, that things will work out in the manner that I want them to, in a way that is actually safe for me and enjoyable. And so I will give this week thus far 6.5 out of 10. It is definitely not my favorite, most positive week. And with that, the question becomes, what am I going to do? Before I continue, if these check-ins have been useful, have added to your daily quality of life, if you have learned something about yourself or a loved one, if you have identified some of your motivators or values using this podcast, please like or subscribe and share. I am just trying to grow and amplify this messaging, and I would love to interact with you all and learn more about who is actually listening. And so with that, let's get into it. This week's episode is about a concept from psychology called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is when a person or a subject, right, stops responding because they feel like they have lost too often. From a personal standpoint, learned helplessness is when you give up because you feel broken. You have a problem that you just can't fix. You have a circumstance that you have tried your best to navigate. You have had experiences happen to you that you cannot recover from the outcome and you haven't learned how. And you just give up. You stop trying. You don't have the energy. And the situation just seems like it's going to go nowhere. Learned helplessness sounds scary because it is scary. It feels scary to give up on yourself. It feels scary to give up on life. And so you find learned helplessness in depression. You find learned helplessness in abuse. And these people, these individuals, their minds and their spirits are fractured. They're injured. And they feel as though there is not an action that can change this circumstance. The thing about learned helplessness is that it's not inevitable. Like I mentioned, with the professional and social aspect of work this week, I was in a room with maybe 50 other people in social work, in education, in the healthcare field, and the conversation turned to politics and the state of the world. And when people were talking about how we can support each other and our clients and the communities that we serve, the language and the feelings were so negative. And I'm not saying that's a problem at all. It is an extremely difficult time that the world is in. There are so many types of pain and suffering right now. There's so much injustice and grief and evil in the world right now. And so feeling heavy is understandable. It's expected. However, you cannot stay heavy. The people committing these horrible acts are banking on stealing enough of your energy and enough of your attention span, taking enough of your power that you won't figure out, what do I have to do next? Right? If you're an American in American society, and unfortunately, even if you're a citizen anywhere else in the world, you are dealing with the repercussions of American politics right now. And yeah, if you are going to make it through this time period and have your wits about you and unlock a new level of life within yourself, within your loved ones, you cannot become hopeless. And I know it may be easier said than done. I am someone who deals with a lot of heavy negative information daily. Some of it is mine and related to my life, and a lot of it is external. And existing in this space of grief so long takes a toll. And you have to be very intentional about how you counteract that. And I want people to know that even if you're not a licensed professional in a specific career, you are probably still living in a lot of heavy energy because the world is suffering. And whether you do hair, a barber, a painter, a cashier at a grocery store, we are all experiencing a crazy amount of trauma right now. And if we feel like there is nothing to do but accept it until we die, guess what? That's what it's going to be. And that's what people are banking on. That's what the evil ones want to happen. That you will just accept all of the nonsense that is going on in the world, and you will feel like your power is so limited that nothing you can do will be inspiring of change. And it's just not the case. And I want you, the student of gratitude, to know that you have options. Even if the option is changing your mind about something, that is a very poignant, very strong action to do. Learned helplessness is a symptom of not communicating. It's a symptom of ruminating. It's a symptom of not seeking external help. It's a symptom of putting too much pressure on yourself. What I want people to know and remember is that learned helplessness is not an instant decline. It comes after people have failed and been heartbroken time and time again. And then they start to doubt their abilities, and they start to doubt that the universe wants to take care of them. They start to doubt that they can be happy. And what I want people to know is that if they find themselves in this space, you have to know that you can think your way out of it. That's the first step. Changing your mind is a really big action, and it takes a lot of energy. And one of the ways that you can combat learned helplessness is training your mind to see your successes. Everything can be framed as a success. I woke up this morning. That's a success. I picked up my phone to scroll. That is a success. I used the restroom. That's a success. I communicated with someone. I did some work today. I managed to feed myself. I drank water. I brushed my teeth. Things that basic are successes. And you need to start training your brain to look for every success it can find, even if you feel like there are none. If your electricity is about to be cut off, if you still have lights, it's a success. You still have a phone to watch this programming on, it's a success. So the first way to combat learned helplessness is to train your mind to find as many successes as possible. So what I just described to you, that thought process, that is called learned optimism. Looking for every success, because learned helplessness frames everything as a failure. Another piece is to set really small, achievable goals, even if it's something you were already going to do. I sent that text message. I really am going to set a goal of waking up and washing my hands. I'm going to set a goal of making myself a cup of tea. Micro goals prove to yourself that your actions have an impact. So you are doing things that actually matter. And that is very important. Lastly, reframing your failures. Every single time you quote unquote failed, you learned something new. Even if you learned what not to do, that's still a lesson learned, and information is power, period. Because information influences the decisions that you make. And so the more information you have, the more power behind your decisions. And so learning that your failures are not failures, they're just more information to get you closer to your goal. After a while, you will start to believe yourself because it is true, no matter what you think, right? Even me saying this right now, even if you want to reject it. A failure does not mean that your goal goes away. It just means that you're going to get there a different way, or you're going to try to. Learned helplessness is what I really think we all need to be focused on right now. That's what we need to combat. Like, yes, misinformation and being fed false shit is really scary. But learned helplessness is even scarier. If we lose the motivation to figure out how we're going to survive this shit, guess what? We are not surviving it. And so I want you to know that the worst situations still have the possibility to work out well. And so one more time, the worst situations still have the possibility to work out well. And so I am sending you love, light, and gratitude for spending some time with me. Remember to check in with yourself and to be gentle while doing so. Check in with a loved one, a stranger, and I'll be here to check in with you next week. With gratitude always, Gwen.